Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with Normal. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. It's Friday, June 21st, 2024. You know what that means, friends. It's time for me to answer all of your burning questions live. Hey Samuel. Tree, thank you for giving me the obligatory heart attack when I saw comments coming in and thinking, are we live? Because I didn't go live. Always love your early comments. Hey, thanks to everyone on Instagram who just joined us. Be sure to hit that like, follow, and subscribe button so you never miss when NORML goes live. And tell me in the comments right now, tell me where you're watching from. Not only do I want to answer your questions, but I want to know where you are. Hey, Nick. Nick, we're not in the Northeast here. I can show your comment. We're just at the top of the South, but it's all South here today with a balmy 94. Yeah. Yeah. This is broken today. It's brutal in Pennsylvania. It's not enjoyable here in Virginia. Hello, turtle plates. Hey, Woodyard. Hey, turtle in Georgia. Tree in North Carolina. Hey, pot calls the kettle bong in Texas. Ramona in Kansas. Hello, original MP3 in Virginia. Also. Hey, Kate in Denver. Hey, Sydney in Chicago. Hey, CWA in Hampton. What? HBN on Instagram in Japan. Hello. Hello. Thanks for watching. If you weren't in Japan on deployment, what state would you be in? Hey, 420 in Southern Indiana. Hello. Alt F4 on Instagram asking, is Virginia ever going to have a commercial market? This question is about adult use in Virginia, which is legal, but there's no marketplace outside of medical. Are we ever going to? Yes, at some point we are going to have a legal adult use market in Virginia. When depends entirely upon the next gubernatorial election. So elections have consequences, Virginia, and you're feeling that right now, thanks to the current governor. HBN, you'd be in Virginia. Awesome. Hey, Godzilla, good to see you. Hey, Kimberly in Tennessee. Christopher, welcome back. We missed you. Melissa did your job for you last week. Nick asking about HB 2500 in Pennsylvania. Nick, why don't you tell me about the new House bill? Why don't you tell me about it? I haven't read it. Or also, Noah, look up something about that and let me know what it is. Archizen on Instagram is asking about Florida. What about Florida? Are you talking about your insane, almost more insane than Virginia's governor, but also insane? Are you talking about your insane governor and the amendment, constitutional amendment that will be on your ballot in November that requires 60% of the vote to legalize adult use? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes, that is. Look, he's a he's a kook, and apparently wants to use PAC money to try and defeat the amendment. So that seems like a good waste of money, a good use of resources. Yeah. Meanwhile, while DeSantis is being crazy, uh, trying to ruin lives left and right in his state, um, we have some really great governors, which I can laugh because I'm from Florida. Uh, um, we have some great governors, like Governor Wes Moore in Maryland, who this week signed an executive order pardoning over 175,000 misdemeanor marijuana convictions. So this was misdemeanor marijuana possession and misdemeanor paraphernalia as long as it was for marijuana. Those over 175 convictions have been pardoned in Maryland by their governor. Now, this is not the same as an expungement. Pardon is like forgiveness, but it's still on these records still exist. They don't. If someone did a background check on one of these people that had been pardoned, they would still see it. So, not the same, but still good, and garnered a whole lot of media attention, um, which was fantastic. Now, the sort of counterpoint to that, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess that you don't see that comment box, uh, Noah. Hey, everyone, say hi to Noah. Noah is our intern and is the producer for today's show. So I just dropped the link to the Maryland story. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you should be able to see that comment there. Of course, YouTube made the link all weird. Hey, Wade, welcome back. If you are watching on Instagram or anywhere else, Twitter, and you can't see these comments, you just head over to the NORML website, norml.org. You'll either see it on the front page or you'll see it in the news section. Exactly. Exactly. Socks on Instagram, not expungement. Pardons and expungements, not the same. One happens by the legislative branch, pardons. The other happens by the judicial branch, expungements. Kaizen, I want to read your comment. Kaizen says about DeSantis, a politician who consistently goes against what the majority wants, uses bait and switch tactics for personal gain. Yeah, it sounds entirely accurate. Yeah. Hey, JT, welcome back. Nick, I can't see your link, Nick. Ah. Okay, yes, thank you for all of those comments. So what I was starting to say, before I got way off track, was unlike Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, who's made some really, really excellent cannabis policy decisions over the past year. We've got not only kooks like Governor DeSantis, out of touch governors like Youngkin, and then we've got Louisiana's governor. Let me read what this dude just said. So, Louisiana's governor, Jeff Landry, just vetoed a bill. And what this bill would have done, all this bill would have done, is facilitated expedited pardons for first-time marijuana offenders. Not expungement, just an expedited pardon process for first-time offenders. And his excuse is in his veto message, he says that he was rejecting the bill in part because he thinks it is, quote, an attempt to have Louisiana accept President Biden's invitation to the states to join his soft on crime, no consequences for criminals agenda, end quote. Sorry, what? Why Louisiana? Did you elect someone like that? I mean, that's not a policy position. That's rhetoric. That is straight up rhetoric. That is some wacko rhetoric. I guess Louisianans buy that hook, line, and sinker. I don't know, but that is just the dumbest thing I've heard this week. Probably not, but for right now it is. Look, I was just telling Noah about how my specialty is just ever so delicately touching the mouse and kicking myself out of the stream. I mean, all I did was reach to pick it up and out of there. Yeah, I know, Wade. Listen. Give me a second. Oh, see, look, there is a wacko that you can you can ban user and delete their comments. That's how you do it, Noah. Bye, weirdo. Yeah. So back on track. I know you can't make this stuff up. You could, but why? You don't need to because there's lunatics like the person I just kicked out of the comments. Oh my gosh, Nick, I want to read that so bad, but it won't. It won't work. I think that. Okay. Hey, Noah, will you go look for House Bill 2500 in Pennsylvania? You can find it in Bill Track 50. And then give me a comment, drop a comment in the private chat so I can read this bill and then answer. Thanks so much. Answer Nick's question. Anyhow, here we go. Turtle plates. I don't think you have to answer that person. They're gone now because they're just here to say gross things. JT. Hey, JT has a question. This is someone asked about the plan, that candidate's plan, which also isn't policy, it's rhetoric. In I think it's similar to the question you're asking. If Trump is elected, can he declare cannabis illegal and close everything down? No, it's Schedule 1 today. So when he was first elected or whatever, the last time he was elected, when he was elected, he, as you may recall, first appointed Jeff Sessions as Attorney General of the US, and cute little demon boy Jeff decided to rescind the Cole memo. The Cole memo had been in effect for some time at this point, and the Cole memo essentially says hands off legal cannabis operations. It's not what it says, but that's what it effectively says. And he rescinded the Cole memo. And so then there was sort of momentary panic. It's like, well, does that mean it's going to go back to like DEA is going to go back to raiding legal dispensaries. No, nothing happened. Though everyone was nervous for a minute. So cannabis is already about as illegal as it can get at the federal level. The process, the rescheduling process, consideration of rescheduling is already underway. Even if cannabis is rescheduled to Schedule 3, it doesn't change anyway. It doesn't in any way change how state legal cannabis operates from a consumer standpoint. Maybe these companies will be able to take tax deductions. That's not going to affect you as a consumer or day-to-day state operations from the consumer perspective. Could Congress pass a bill? Sure. Are they going to? No. So, thanks for your question, JT. I don't think it means anything at this point. Hey, ma'ams, welcome back. Hello, Michael. You are new. Welcome. Oh, okay, Noah, got it. Oh my God, why is everything happening right now? Ma'am says, greetings. It seems like cannabis legalization isn't a front burner issue for many. But with things like Louisiana governor's statement, does this move polls? Is there a historical percentage move? I don't know. I mean, the public is already there. So is that going to, I just want things to work for like 5 minutes. Is that going to change the way people vote in Louisiana? My gut says no. My gut says no. Oh, yes, I do kick people out when you're gross. When you're offensive and rude, yeah, you get banned immediately. So, whatever. Hey, MK watching on Instagram. MK watching on Instagram says, vote everyone for cannabis friendly candidates. Elections have consequences. They sure do. We know that in Virginia. We sure do. We sure do. Hey, Peaceful Dies. Welcome back. Peaceful Dies on Instagram says, I joined NORML in the early 70s. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Skeeter on Instagram is asking, who's the best hope if the Democratic and Republican, I think what you're asking, by the two big boys, you mean the Republican candidate for president and Democratic candidate for president aren't good options? No, let's be real for a minute. Like, this is not Burger King. You are not getting it your way. You might see other hamburgers on the menu. You might see a red hamburger, a blue hamburger, a green hamburger, and a yellow hamburger. And you can try to order those green and yellow hamburgers, but you're never getting that delivered to your, not now. I'm not saying not ever at some point when there's major overhaul. But right now, you're only getting served the red hamburger or the blue hamburger. That's your choice. You do what you do you, but if you're asking for a real answer, you got to pick the red one or the blue one. You're getting served the red one or the blue one, regardless. So yeah, elections have consequences. Turtle, he didn't before. Why would he now? Also, it would be highly unpopular. Oh, right, about Trump, yeah, sure. Thank you, Michael. Sessions is a tool. Samuel, thank you. I'm just going to leave this here while I read some more comments. Yes, my system is being held together by Scotch tape and good vibes. Thank you for knowing how nonprofits work. Oh, hi, Becca. Becca has a great point. Becca says, just a thought. Why are the top 3 poorest states fighting cannabis? Well, because those states elected people who are not good on cannabis policy. The state Becca's in is West Virginia. It's doing nothing. You do have medical though, so fortunately you have that. There are states that have nothing, unbelievably. No, not that all the way. That guy's not ever getting elected. You're welcome, Skeeter. Thanks for asking. Controlled legislation? I don't know what you mean, peaceful. Anyhow, let's get back into some news, shall we? So while Maryland's and Louisiana's governors made very different choices this week, some other things also happened. I'm going to do the state things, and then we'll talk about the science things. Good news out of Texas. There's something you don't get to say a lot, but here we are. Okay, posting the link. It's taken its time. Anyhow, in Texas, a district court judge, rejected the Texas Attorney General's effort to nullify Austin's voter-approved marijuana depenalization ordinance. So there is a group in Texas called Ground Game Texas, and they have been very successful at running local depenalization ordinances. They did, let's see, it's Austin, San Marcos, Killeen, Elgin, and Denton. And the Texas Attorney General filed a lawsuit in February against these cities. Add into the list of, this is coming out of your mouth and people can hear it. Here it goes. He says, I will not stand idly by as cities run by pro-crime extremists deliberately violate Texas law and promote the use of illicit drugs that harm our communities. End quote. Why y'all electing people like that? What? Unsurprisingly, Paxton's office has announced that they intend to appeal the district court's decision. Now, this is completely in opposition to what voters in these cities want. Voters in these cities said yes to these depenalization ordinances. And the AG's like, no, I know better. Okay, do you? Hey, Turtle Plates. Turtle Plate says, I wish Georgia would just open up to full medical and stop the low THC stuff. Oh. The products are watered down with monk fruit or MCT oil. I hope you don't have vape cartridges that are diluted with MCT oil, because that's gross. Here's the hope that I can give you, Turtle. So way back in the day, Virginia, Georgia, and Texas all started out with the same crappy limited use CBD, low THC, whatever you want to call it, limited licensure medical cannabis proposal. And they've gone in 3 very different directions. In Virginia, in just 6 years, we went from that, just an affirmative defense for possession of CBD for some people, to open up to adult use. Right, so that's the trajectory that you can go, because elections have consequences. We also fully expanded the medical program. It's operational. We don't have a made-up list of conditions. In fact, we went from 1 condition, which was intractable epilepsy, to none. We didn't just hang more ornaments on the tree. We got rid of it altogether. You don't have to register as a patient. You don't have to register as a practitioner. You can use telehealth and go the same day. So Virginia's medical cannabis program, aside from the limited licensure component, which still remains, we don't have enough dispensaries for the state. Aside from that, from a consumer access standpoint, it's one of the best in the country. Now, you've got Texas kind of in the middle, where their program's operational, but you're kind of limited in your product selection. They have been smart, though, about their language. And low THC isn't really low THC. If you say something is a percent and you apply it only to the product and not to the plant, that does not then equate to low THC. For example, when Virginia's program started, it was 5%. 5% in a liquid means 50 milligrams per milliliter. That's a lot. A milliliter, let's see, there's 5 milliliters in a teaspoon. That's not, a teaspoon's not big. Like, I don't want to make that hand gesture because it could be very offensive to some people. I was looking for coins, but who has coins? Anyhow, everyone knows presumably what a teaspoon looks like a nickel. It's like that shape. That's 5 milliliters. That's 150 milligrams of THC. In a teaspoon, that's not low THC. Who the hell would be kidding? But whatever, if that's what gets your bill passed, great. Use that dumb language. And then you've got Georgia. That's not really done a lot. You all barely were able to get product into people's hands. But it is okay to start somewhere. So if your state has nothing, or if your state is still struggling with the program like Georgia has, at least you've started. Once you have something, it's a lot easier to move forward and expand. So don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. You can move forward. Just pick something to start with and change that. You don't have to change everything all at once. I know it doesn't feel sexy, but it's okay to do that. Hey, everyone on Instagram that just joined us. I just saw a ton of you jump in. I love it. Yeah, okay. Would be nice to understand. Hey, Samuel. Samuel is asking if NORML is going to be at the Fish Festival in Dover, Delaware in August. We do have a Delaware NORML chapter. I don't know if they are planning to be there. That's an excellent question. You just made it back. Well, welcome back. All right. Hi, Ellie. Sorry, Ellie, it took me 5 whole minutes to go through my rant about not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. Just see your comment. I haven't seen you in so long. I didn't vote for that clown either. Yeah, okay. Exactly. Exactly, Turtle. Exactly. On the, yes, percentages. Hey, Michael, you're asking about Texas. 10% is what Teacup has in Texas. Hey, hello, casual viewer watching us on YouTube. asked, does Iowa have an active NORML chapter? No, Iowa does not have an active NORML chapter. And that seems like a state that really could use an active NORML chapter. Casual viewer, if you and 3 of your friends would like to start a NORML chapter, I think that would be a great idea, and we'd love to help you do that. You can find out all the information at norml.org/chapters. There's a link to the start a chapter page. So check it out. That's right, Skeeter. Persistence is key. Just put one foot in front of the other. You'll get somewhere. Eventually. All right. Good news out of Colorado. Good news out of Colorado. Okay, here comes the Colorado story. This is on data. It's funny that I said that. This is according to data provided by the Colorado Department of Health. The legalization and regulation of adult use cannabis, regulation of cannabis market in Colorado, coincides with the declining rates of teen marijuana use. This means fewer teens are saying that it's easy, in quotes, to get marijuana. It's almost like when you take marijuana off the street corner and you put it behind an age-verified counter where it can be properly regulated for consumer safety, that it has a positive public health benefit. Where have I heard that before? Anyhow, let's just add on to that. According to the CDC, the percentage of high schoolers nationwide who use marijuana has fallen an estimated 30% over the better part of the past decade. And compliance check data from states like California, Colorado, and Nevada, and other legal states show that licensed cannabis retailers, dispensaries, are not selling to underage patrons. It's not anywhere close to the compliance, the cannabis way up here. Alcohol compliance a little bit lower. But data, again, back to this Healthy Kids Colorado survey, finds that the percentage of high school students reporting past month cannabis use fell 37% between 2013 and 2023. The percentage of teens who perceive that cannabis is easy to obtain fell 27% during the same time period. So great. Even NIDA, the National Institute for Drug Abuse, their director has acknowledged that the enactment of statewide laws regulating adult use cannabis have not led to an increase in the percentage of young people experimenting with the substance. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Glenn. If you know, you know. Ramona says, be great if Kansas had an active anything but tornadoes. That's funny. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Vermont, watching on Instagram. I don't know. How do you know? I don't know what your regulatory model looks like for cannabis in Vermont, but I can tell you that all regulatory models are not created equal. And if you do not do things like mandate third-party analytical laboratory testing by accredited labs that are audited by a meaningful agency, then you're not really doing anything. Your products need to be labeled and lab tested, and that varies state to state. You can have great regs, We have great regs in Virginia when it comes to consumer safety and lab testing. Not every state does. Some states don't even mandate testing, which is insane. Woof. Yeah, but again, a product, regardless of where you got it from, a regulated or an unregulated source, if it is not required to undergo third party, meaning not just the producer, some unrelated entity, laboratory, run by actual scientists, not people with a mass spec in their garage. If it's not required to undergo third party analytical laboratory testing by an accredited and audited laboratory, it doesn't, you have no idea what you're buying, regardless of who you're buying it from. All right, what other? Okay, here we go. We're down to the last two stories. One of them is another one of those. Hi, Remo, watching from Peru. Thanks for joining us on Instagram. This is going to be one of those where you go, duh. It's always nice to have one of those. Ooh, that sounds gross. All right. Here's the story. Consumers frequently turn to cannabis to relieve pain and anxiety. Oh, do they? That's the headline. But listen, there's there's a little bit more to it. NUG MD, which is a referral service for certifying cannabis practitioners. We don't have any connection to them. But they did a survey. They surveyed more than 6,500 consumers. And 1 in 4 of those consumers said that their main goal when using cannabis is to achieve pain relief. 1 in 4 were there to achieve pain relief. 25%, 25% said pain. A nearly equal percentage, 23%, that they said that they use cannabis to relieve anxiety. And only 13% of those surveyed defined their cannabis use as strictly, quote, recreational. There you go. All right. Martin is asking, what does it do if you use good CBD oil for diabetes, blood pressure, and Lyme disease? I'm not a fan of the euphemism CBD oil because what do you like? Unless that is it a product that just has CBD in it? Do you mean a product that has CBD and THC? Right? It's kind of a terrible way to, not you personally, but in general, I don't think we should be using that language because it's not, unregulated companies have taken advantage of it and it doesn't really mean anything. But to that point, Martin, there is really good research. Why don't I just have that right here? Just remind me, Noah, to add this to the script. I am going to very slowly but surely find this link and share it with you, Martin. Oh, Martin, you're watching on Twitter, so you won't see this. I won't be able to post a link for you, Martin. But hey, Martin, if you go to the NORML website, normal.org, okay? And then click on the Learn section and go to the Marijuana Research Library. you will find a section called Recent Medical Research. And then, Martin, you will find this, Clinical Applications for Cannabis and Cannabinoids. And not only is this available in a book form, a real-life book, it's also available in an ebook for Kindle in the Amazon Kindle store. And it is available, every section of this book is available as a PDF in the Recent Medical Marijuana Research Library on the NORML website, including sections that we have, scroll back up. Where's your question? Diabetes, yes, we have a whole section on diabetes in here. And then if you want to look at studies related to blood pressure and Lyme disease, we've definitely covered those. Just use the search bar on the NORML website, and the studies will come right up for you. Got it. CBD and THC, yeah. So you're going to see those studies in the whole diabetes section in clinical apps, which is in the research section. Or you can do a search for blood pressure. You can do a search for Lyme disease, and you'll see that on the website. Where can you get the book? Martin, you can get the book at store.norml.org. If you're on the NORML website, you can also just scroll to the section where it says shop. But this is at store.norml.org is where you'll find the hardcover, well, the paper, the print version. This is a soft cover. You find this. And then if you want the Kindle version, the ebook, that's on Amazon. Just search Clinical Applications for Cannabis and Cannabinoids. It'll come up. There's also a link to it on our website in the Recent Medical Marijuana Research Library. So you can find it there. I don't know if there's been any research on sleep apnea. There is. There's a whole section. I literally just have to scroll like one click. There's a whole section on sleep apnea in here. There you go. Martin also says Kentucky is going to legalize something, medical cannabis, in January, but I don't know if it's for people like me that want to use it to treat disease. Yes, Kentucky has a medical cannabis program that is slated to get up and running. Yes, these are all, Martin has great questions today. Martin asks, has the book been peer reviewed? This is a book of peer reviewed studies. What kind of publisher? Us. NORML is the publisher. And what are the qualifications for the writers? Paul Armentano is the author of this book. He's the leading expert on cannabis policy in the United States, arguably on cannabis research as well. Yeah, this is by us. This is not an A to Z of what cannabis is good for. This is here's what the recent research, the recent scientific literature says. It is executive summaries of these peer-reviewed papers. Thanks for asking. All right, back on track. Got it. Thank you, Noah, for that check on HB 2500. And we have one more news, don't we? We do. We got one more news. This is the fun one. Hey, do you use edibles? Do you like edibles? Now's a fun time to drop a bunch of edible emojis in the comment to let me know. I'll wait. um, and then you'll see why we're talking about edibles in just a second here. So there was a study done recently that looks at the cannabis metabolite. Hi, Aid. How are you? I'm great, thanks. I'm doing a show. There's a study done that looks at the cannabis metabolite 11-hydroxy THC. This is 11-hydroxy THC is the metabolite that your liver converts THC into when you eat edibles. And press send so you can see it. Thank you everyone for your emoji. I love some emoji here happening all around me. Anyhow, the metabolite 11-hydroxy THC possesses psychoactive properties that are equal to or greater than those of THC, the parent compound. So investigators compared the activity of THC and 11-hydroxy THC in mice. But then they reported that 11-hydroxy displayed equal or greater activity than the parent compound THC did. And anyone who uses edibles knows what they're talking about. I think this is really interesting to see this done in, these preclinical data come out and see, and what else can I tell you about it? 11-hydroxy is one of the two primary metabolites that are formed following cannabis consumption. The other one is 11-nor-9 carboxy THC, which is not psychoactive, but it does stay in the body in like blood or urine and can be detectable for extended periods of time. But when the consumer ingests cannabis, forgot what it was, the consumer ingests cannabis products and eats it, greater quantities of this 11-hydroxy THC are produced as opposed to when it's smoked or vaped. And this is, one of the reasons why cannabis infused edible products that we're talking about are often associated with greater psychoactive effects than than like botanical cannabis is. So check it out. Read about it in that study. Yes. 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 Drug Zordish. Yes. uh, Journal of Pharmacology. I don't know that they're. Or just a journal. You have. Okay. Those were a lot of comments. Got it. Thanks. Anyhow, I thought that I'd like to pick a winner and a loser of the stories every week, and I think that that's probably the one that consumers are going to be the most into, is talking about something that you probably already knew, but it's nice to see a study that reflects what you already know or what you've experienced, at least anecdotally. Let's talk about. Hey, there's still time for you to ask me. You have just a few minutes to ask me any burning questions you might be sitting on. So drop them in the comments. Now is the time. And I'm going to tell you about a couple of things that are coming up. Hey, if you tried to watch the Missouri NORML Spring Conference last weekend and ran into problems with it, good news. Now it's available. It is in fact available on Facebook for you to watch now. They had some problems streaming. They had some problems streaming, and now they've posted the entirety of the content to their Facebook. There it is. There we go. Okay. So you can watch the Missouri NORML Spring Conference, which includes presentations by NORML Deputy Director Paul Armentano and NORML Political Director Lauren Fox, as well as Dan Vietz, who is the chair of the NORML Board of Directors, as well as the coordinator for the Missouri NORML chapter. James, I do not know if it is on Missouri NORML's website, but they do have a new website. It's MissouriNormal.org, spelled out, MissouriNormal.org. I don't know if they posted it directly to their website. I will ask them and encourage them to post it on their website if they have not yet. Otherwise, you can just send an email to chapters@normal.org, and I'll try to see if I can get them to put it on the Google Drive and send it to you or something. Turtle asks, do I think Georgia will ever have home grow personal cultivation laws? I think that you could. I think you sure could. But again, elections have consequences. And if you elect terrible people, then you'll get terrible cannabis policies. Here's the thing. When you go to vote, and interestingly, now that we're past the primaries, we've had a number of candidates submit their position statements. It would have been cool if they did it before the primaries, but whatever, you do you. We have a voter guide for you. It's called Smoke the Vote. It's at vote.normal.org. If you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, you'll see that in the chat. If you're on Instagram or LinkedIn, sorry, you have to go to vote.normal.org, and then you can click on your state and see not only where your current electeds stand on cannabis policy, but if there's an election coming up, then you'll see where the candidates stand as well. If you have information, if there's no information for that candidate and you can point us to information, you have the option to submit that right there. Please make sure you're using a citation. Like if you just tell us, well, I heard this guy say this, that's not going to help. But if you say, here's a link to this candidate making this comment to this news station, or even if they do, if the candidate says it on one of their social media platforms, if the candidate makes a tweet or if the candidate makes a Facebook post or something like that, you can send us a link to that as well, and that will suffice. Or even if anybody is live streaming or captured a video of the person saying something on social media, that's fine as well. But what we're looking for is something verifiable. Either it's in a news story, or we can see the person saying it. You can also just get the candidate, if you know them, to submit the comment form for us as well via the candidate survey. But yeah, I don't do Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, or Insta. I do YouTube. All right, James. Well, James, email us at chapters.normal.org, and we'll see if they have it on their website. If not, we can probably get them to give it to us, and I can make a YouTube link or a Google Drive link so you can watch the video. So we're good like that. Samuel, North Carolina is voting again to pass medical cannabis. Is this a question or a statement? Because that Compassionate Care Act, we could pass that. You could just pass that. Maybe that'd be good. I'm trying to look at the act page for you right now. I just see all I see still, we're talking about Senate Bill 3 in North Carolina Compassionate Care Act. Bill Track 50 just says still that it's crossed over. I don't see any other action on it other than it's crossed over, but that'd be great. That'd be great. What do I think about home grow if S3 goes into effect? Is personal cultivation part of it? I'm looking at it. I don't see that personal cultivation. I don't see that in the summary. Samuel, you might know more. You might know more. Samuel, is personal cultivation included in Compassionate Care Act? I don't see it in the summary. But I also can't just read the whole thing. It's not mentioned. Okay. Will it? So I don't think it hurts it. There's this idea out there, and it just really, in my opinion, it's going to make someone so mad, but it kind of amounts to like, we'll just say I think it's rhetoric based. I don't think it's reality. Listen, maybe one time you saw someone who works at a dispensary say something off message in a legislative body. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but this idea that the regulated cannabis industry opposes personal cultivation, I don't see the basis for that. I do not see that is not the reality in which I am living, and this is what I do for a living. I don't see them saying, no, we don't like that. I also don't see Kroger big mad that people can grow tomatoes at home. Like, it's a luxury to be able to, I mean, not only because it's illegal in a lot of states, but it's a luxury to be able to grow cannabis at home, because even when it's illegal for adults to grow their own cannabis, it's often relegated only to people who own their own homes. It's not something everyone's good at. Like, I can we're growing tomatoes in my house, but I'm still buying tomatoes at Publix. So anyhow, that's a long-winded way of saying, no, I don't think it matters. I think pass this bill, and I think any forward momentum you can get, if you can make progress in changing cannabis laws, particularly if you have a big hump to get over, like if you're in a state like North Carolina where you got nothing, you've got to start somewhere. And so start somewhere. It's a lot easier to come back and make little changes as you move forward. So I wouldn't worry about it. But what do I know? It's just my job. Oh, in my head, there's that angry activist is like, no, I saw someone say something one time. Okay. Neat. So I told you about the Missouri NORML Spring Conference, and we went down a big old tangent. But listen, in our Suncoast NORML chapter, I don't know if they'll be producing this show tomorrow or not, because I believe that Chris is at board retreat right now. However, the rotation by Suncoast NORML typically airs Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern, and you can watch that on their, that's right, James, YouTube. So even if they don't have a new one tomorrow, they have a bunch of other ones there you can go watch. Suncoast NORML on YouTube. Tim on Instagram, you're growing your 4 plants. Awesome. You're welcome. Hey, some really important, I think everyone knows this already, but just in case you don't, the DEA is accepting public comments through July 22nd on cannabis rescheduling. Now, this is not as easy as, using our Take Action Center to click and just send a pre-written email. You got to click a few more buttons, but we made it as easy for you as possible. We have pre-drafted comments for you that answer the questions that they have specifically asked be answered in comments. It's not just, they're not just like, hey, tell us what you think. They have a, here's some questions that we're looking to answer. And we've written that for you. Now, you can take it and make it your own, or you can submit it just as is. But we have a whole guide for you on the NORML website. You can find it right on the front page of NORML. It is the third slider. So a story, and then the slider that will take you right to the DEA comment submission guide. And also, get excited because it says both things. It says marijuana should not be in Schedule 1, so we support the move to Schedule 3, but marijuana shouldn't be scheduled. Because, friends, it's not a choice. It's not an either or. It's not an either or. You can say both things at once. Both things can be true. You can say, I do not think marijuana belongs in Schedule 1, and marijuana doesn't need to be scheduled. You can say both those things. It's okay. Hi, Michael. I see you on Instagram. I can't show your Instagram comments. Michael, I'm so glad you brought that up. Okay, so our friend Mike O'Malley at Curved Papers has been for years helping us produce the NORML Formal. We just had the NORML Formal in New York at the beginning of the month, and we were able to connect with Raw Papers at the NORML Formal, and they just became a massive donor of NORML. So huge shout out, huge thank you, not only to Mike at Curve Papers, but to Raw for your incredible support of NORML, and specifically putting your money where your mouth is. You are saying to cannabis consumers, hey, we have your back. Because NORML is the only organization that represents specifically cannabis consumers. We're not an industry group. We only represent consumers. That's all we've done for 50 years. That's what we're going to keep doing. And Raw just joined the fight with us. So, hey, Mike, thanks for helping produce that event so we could connect, and good stuff, right? Go Josh, indeed. James, since you mentioned it, I haven't talked about, shut up, Christopher. I haven't talked about this in a hot minute, but I was talking about it earlier today, which is so wild. NORML.org/please-be-certificate. Please let that be the it is. Okay, so a while back, we partnered with our friends at Green Flower Media to produce the NORML Cannabis Advocacy Certificate Program. We, for a few years pre-pandemic, we're delivering this content in person at our annual NORML conferences. And if you were a NORML chapter leader, you could come for a full day of free training and how to engage in advocacy work in your state. And Greenflower reached out to us and said, hey, can we make a video series and let people get this online? And you can find out information on that at norml.org/certificate. And it is really funny that you mentioned that, James, because when we were at CWCB Expo, which is who hosted the NORML Formal for us earlier this year or month, I had multiple people come up and say, oh, you were in my advocacy certificate video. And I just always am like, yeah, yes, I was. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So if you want to learn how to engage in advocacy at maybe a more sophisticated level, check this out. Nick, you would like to do a normal formal in Pennsylvania? Great. Feel free to send me an email at chapters@norml.org and we can talk about what that looks like. It's an older. How old is it? Is it like 2020, 2019? It's not that old, is it? Anyhow. Christopher. Okay, Christopher's favorite question to ask is this, and we so missed you last week, but don't worry, Melissa asked in your absence. Christopher asked his favorite question is, what's your favorite type of cannabis? To me, and my favorite type of cannabis is legal cannabis, as you know, Christopher. Thank you, everyone, for letting me know this is an older video. Great. Well, I hope I look so much younger in it. I look something in it. Tim. Tim. I almost escaped without having to talk about seeds for a minute. Tim on Instagram is asking if says, can I have seeds sent to Virginia? Can you? I'm sure you can. Is it legal under Virginia law? No. And the reason is this. Before someone starts yammering about the DEA and seeds, hemp, blah, 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 Virginia law, the definition of marijuana in Virginia, it is marijuana when you're talking about adult use in Virginia. Definition of marijuana includes seeds. So that's why. Is it legal and can you do it? Are clearly two different questions. This is not legal advice, by the way. Yeah, so there you go. Sorry for that weird question. I do know that the DEA considers seeds to meet the legal definition of hemp because seeds do not contain THC. I have not heard of anyone getting prosecuted for that. Personal, like for someone had 4 seeds mailed to them. I haven't heard of that, but you know. Christopher. Christopher. That was my voice. That's hilarious. I love that you're saying that. I am, in fact, not 24 or 25. Yes, Barbara, cannabis is legal for adults in Virginia. That is accurate. Okay. Oh, it's so, oh my God, it's 5:12. What are we doing? I'm doing everything wrong today. Today's been wild. We did it. We told you all the news. I told you about some stuff coming up. I want to tell you about 2 more things, and then we'll all go have a great weekend. So this is coming up in July. So in less than 1 month from today, Indiana NORML will be celebrating their 50th anniversary. So, well, they'll be having their 50th anniversary celebration. This is July 20th at the Hi-Fi Annex in Indianapolis. You can get tickets on whatever this link is. Also, you can find it on NORML's Facebook and on the Indiana NORML website. I think they have a link to their whatever the Indiana. Yes, Christopher, I did talk about those. Thank you. Christopher would also like let everyone know that he has given his permission for the rest of you to take the day off. Yes. Thank you, Christopher. Hi, Sherry. I'm glad to see you. Christopher asked if I talked about the almost 24,000 public comments that have been submitted. I did talk about how to submit comments. I did not talk about the fact that there are almost 24,000 now. But yesterday I did a keyword search for a section of our letter to see about how many had been submitted from NORML. I think it was around, and this was yesterday, so it was like 2,600 at that point. That doesn't mean that only 2,600, but 2,600 pings on the sentence I chose. So keep going, don't stop. Did I post my comment? My comment is NORML's comment. We'll be submitting, Paul will be submitting comments for NORML. Yeah, so congratulations, Indiana NORML, on 50 years. And one last event to share with you all, because this one takes some planning, but the NORML Key West Legal Seminar is December 5th through 7th, 5 through 7. I'm talking's hard today. December 5th through December 7th at the Pier House Resort and Spa. The Pier House Resort and Spa. Hey, are you an attorney? Do you need continuing legal education credits? Good news, our legal seminars are fully accredited in every state that requires CLEs for their practicing attorneys. So we got you. Are you not an attorney, or you just don't need those CLEs? Great, we've got you with a discounted rate. So CLEs, no CLEs, good both ways. And this is really an excellent way to connect with leading cannabis law experts from around the country as we work our way from prohibition to cannabis freedom. So check that out, norml.org/Key West. Come hang out there. Awesome. Barbara is asking, how often do we go live? Fridays at 4. Look, sometimes I go on. Who am I kidding? Sometimes I travel and then I can't do it. I was gonna say go on vacation, but like, let's get real. Yeah, sometimes I have to do other things on Fridays, but typically it's going to be Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern that you see live with NORML. Stream on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, because those are the platforms that it lets us stream on. It looks like next Friday. Just while we're at it, Barbara, and you're welcome, Barbara. Yeah, next Friday looks like a go. The following Friday will be the 5th, so it will not be a go because I will be having a day off. Sort of. But yeah, pretty much Fridays at 4, Barbara. Thanks for asking. Hello to all these people who just joined us on Instagram. Sorry, the show is about to be over. But before we go, please take a quick second to hit that like, follow, or subscribe button. Thank you always. Thank you always on Instagram for following us. I can see when you follow us, and I love that. I want to tell you a few things. I want to tell you one more thing before we go. If you didn't, no Twitch. Sorry. Listen. Do I need more? Oh, good grief. I can only stream on so many platforms at once. It does have a little bit of a restriction. Okay. NORML's newsletter comes out every Thursday at like 4:20, because jokes. 4:20 Eastern is when the NORML news of the week sends to the public. And then again on Saturday, you can also get NORML's weekend weed read. How can you get these? I'm so glad you asked. You're going to go to norml.org/subscribe. You're going to be sure that when you're subscribing, you check the weekend weed read box so you never miss an issue of that, because sometimes things happen between Thursday and Saturday and you gotta know. I got you. But if you want to stay up to date and in the know on all things cannabis science and policy, make sure you are subscribed to NORML's Weekend Weed Read and to NORML's News of the Week. Tommy, I'm sorry that you just got a notification that we're live. You can rewatch this show pretty much everywhere except for Instagram. It will be on Facebook. It will be on LinkedIn and Twitter. And YouTube. It just stays there. Instagram only lets it stream while it streams. I'm surprised they haven't kicked us out because we've been streaming for over an hour. I guess Instagram likes us. We're really only supposed to be allowed to stream for an hour on Instagram, but I guess they're okay with it. I've never seen them kick us off. Watch, today's going to be the day. Anyhow, those are all the things. Oh, Twitch doesn't like you streaming on any other service. Got it. Hey, Ari. Ari, yes, there's candidate survey up right now. Aha, haha, I wasn't. Oh, but you're on Twitter, so I can't. You won't see it if I drop a comment. But I'll tell you what it is. And yes, it is up right now. It's up year round, so you can submit it anytime. And if you submit it once, we're gonna keep your comments and smoke the vote anytime your profile's up active. It's gonna be at normal.org/candidate-survey. So normal.org/candidate-survey. There you go. I'm glad you got that. All right, you can submit your comments there. Thank you so much for asking. Tommy, I'm glad I could pronounce your name right. Thanks for joining our live. I'm sorry that I'm gonna go home now. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Sorry if you just joined and we're about to end. You can catch the recording on YouTube. So thanks. This has been great. I love hanging out with you all. You always have the best questions, and this is so much fun. We try to do this every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, so check us out next week. And I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Just gonna cut myself off. Hey, as always, have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here next time. Bye-bye.